Why, hello there, YouTube, and welcome to a random review. I am Random Ross, and today I review the Santa Claus. So yes, this is written by Joe Benventu and Steve Rudnick, and directed by John Paskin, starring Tim Allen, Judd Reinhold, Wendy Crewson, David Krumholtz, and Peter Boyle. So this is a festive family fantasy comedy where this film is 30 years old now. It came out 30 years ago. Can you believe that? 30 years old, and I still think it's a good Christmas movie. So in this, Scott Kelvin, who's a divorced father, spends Christmas Eve with his son Charlie until they hear some noise on the roof, only for it to be Santa, and of course he falls off the roof. And then, of course, Scott and his son make their way up to the roof on the sleigh, where Scott dons the Santa suit and goes around delivering presents on Christmas Eve and returning to the North Pole, where he is now Santa. But of course, he doesn't believe any of this because he's an adult and doesn't have the Christmas spirit. But as the year progresses, he eventually does succumb to being Santa as he starts to get fat, his hair goes white, he grows a beard, he starts to turn into Santa Claus, and his son Charlie believes him, and eventually it does start to believe that he is Santa, and he is Santa. He takes on the mantle of Santa Claus, and then he delivers presents again on Christmas Eve, now fully as Santa. But of course, his ex-wife Laura and her husband Neil think that he's a bit insane and a bit nuts, and he gets arrested, and of course the elves and Charlie have to bust him out so he can go back to delivering presents. And in the end, Laura and Neil do believe that he is Santa, and they believe he's real. And then, even though they're divorced, she tells Scott that he can see Charlie anytime he wants. And, we get some Christmas magic, some good Christmas cheer. And like I say, this film came out 30 years ago, and I don't watch it every year, but I do like to watch it when it's on, or when it's on Disney Plus. I mean, this spawned 2 sequels and a TV show, and even though the TV show hasn't returned for a 3rd season this year, it's not been cancelled, so maybe they'll do another season next year, I don't know. But it all started with this one that came out 30 years ago, and I remember this. I remember when I was a kid, I had the Toy Story VHS. Yeah, we're going back here 20 years, well, 30 years. And when I was watching my Toy Story VHS, they showed Disney previews and stuff. They showed the trailer to the Santa Claus. And a few years later, because when I was a little kid, we'd always get the Disney Channel at Christmas time because there were good stuff on. And my dad recorded the Santa Claus, and yeah, me and my sister instantly fell in love with it. We loved watching it, and we watched it every Christmas, to the point where the VHS, well, the tape wore out. But many years later, it's now available for streaming on Disney Plus, and yeah, it's still a good, good Christmas comedy. There are a few jokes and moments in there that did go over my head as a kid, but now I can understand as an adult, thinking, wow, I missed that one. There's even a bit in there where there's the phone number to a hotline mentioned, which they had to cut out, but if you have a very early limited edition, a very first edition VHS, I think that is still in there, that where he mentions that hotline sex chat number. But Tim Allen was fantastic. I mean, I of course knew him as Buzz Lightyear and Tim the Toolman Taylor in Home Improvement, and he was playing, Scott Kelvin turned Santa Claus, and I loved it. I loved the makeup he wore, the transformation he went to as Santa, and the makeup looked real good on him. I also liked the supporting characters like Bernard, who was the head elf, and also Laura, his ex-wife, and Neil Miller, played by Judge Reinhold. And Yeah, we even had Peter Boyle in this, who of course we all know from like Young Frankenstein, Taxi Driver, Everybody Loves Raymond. He played Scott's boss in this, but returned in the second and third film in a new role as Father Time. Um, yeah, but he was being like a serious actor in this one. Also, you know, Tim Allen just had some funny comedic energy, especially the young child actor they had as Charlie. He was great too, and even returned in the sequels and cameoed in the first season of the series The Santa Clauses. And yeah, you know, but he was, the sweet kid that everyone could relate, that all the other kids could relate to, because he believed that his dad's Santa, and he believed, like kiddies, kids, Christmas and kids, they love it, and they do believe in Santa. I mean, I kind of do believe in Santa from a different point of view. I believe that St. Nicholas was a real person a very long time ago, and now he is the real ghost of Christmas present, where his spirit flies the earth, filling us with Christmas joy and spirit. Anyway, yeah. Out of the three movies, I'd say this is probably the best, and I've watched it many times, and I can still remember it. It still brings back good childhood memories that I have of this movie, and it's 30 years old now. I reckon in another 10 years, I'll still be looking back on this movie. It's great. So, what am I going to rate this one? I will give the Santa Claus. You know what? I enjoy it to death. I'll give it 5 out of 5. So there you go. There is my review for the Santa Claus. Have you seen it? Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Share with your friends, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. All of my social media links are linked down below in the description, so feel free to check all that out. And yeah, so until next time, I bid you all a goodbye, friends, goodbye.